You've just moved in with your partner, and you decide to get a joint bank account. Feels like the right move, you're building something together, money should just work itself out, right? So you figure you'll sort the details later. And then, later arrives. Did you really spend $80 on that? Why is the account low again? And suddenly, every purchase is a conversation. Every transaction needs context. Every swipe comes with a follow-up question. And the person you love starts sounding a lot like a financial auditor. Here's the part nobody warns you about. A joint account is not a financial plan. It's a trap, a shared pool of money with zero rules attached. And shared money without rules doesn't just create financial chaos, it destroys your independence. My name's Jack, and getting a joint account with my partner turned out to be my worst nightmare, until we changed things around. So today, I'm breaking down exactly why a joint account without a system is a terrible idea. The practical trap, the emotional damage, and the smarter play that actually fixes it. Whether you're moving together, getting engaged, or already knee-deep in the chaos, this is the conversation nobody had with you. Not your parents, not your bank, not the person who handed you keys or a lease and said, "Congrats." No one. Because the assumption is always the same. You're sharing a life, so you share the money. Clean, simple, very we're a teen coded. But here's the question most people don't stop to ask. What happens to individual money decisions once everything becomes shared? Because equal doesn't always mean fair, and shared doesn't mean structured. And once you remove structure, the system starts making decisions for you. Not good ones. Let's start with the practical side. Let's say you and your partner both earn $40K. Combined take home roughly $5,200 a month. Everything goes into one joint account. Rent, utilities, groceries, streaming subscriptions you forgot existed but are somehow emotionally attached to, all of it comes out of the same pot. Month 1 feels fine. Nothing weird, no tension. You're like, okay, this works. Month 2, you start noticing things. She bought a new pair of shoes, $120. Nothing crazy. She does this occasionally, always has. He spent $200 on car parts on Saturday, also completely normal for him. But now it's coming out of the joint account, the one you both check, so those purchases don't feel personal anymore. They feel shared, and that changes how they're perceived. She starts feeling like she has to explain the shoes. He starts feeling like he should probably check before ordering parts. No one said that out loud, but it's there. And once that feeling shows up, it doesn't really leave. Now, let's zoom out for a second. These are completely normal purchases, the exact same ones that never caused a single issue before. So why do they suddenly feel heavier? Because the context changed. It's not my money anymore, it's our money. And our money comes with an audience. Now it escalates. She buys clothes, makeup, skincare, the kind of stuff she's always bought without thinking twice. Now every Zara haul, every Sephora order, every I had a rough week purchase comes with this quiet second thought, is this okay? So what follows? She starts justifying purchases, maybe even hiding them. Oh, this old thing? I've had it forever. Yeah, we all know how that goes. And by the way, 1 in 3 couples admits to hiding purchases from their partner. 1 in 3. So this isn't just you. And he's doing the same thing on his side. Tools, upgrades, hobbies, whatever his thing is. Things he used to buy freely. Now it turns into, should I ask? Is this going to turn into a conversation? And if he doesn't ask, now it feels like he should have. So he either avoids the purchase or makes it and deals with the tension after. Sound familiar? So here's the trap of having a joint account without a structure. It turns every personal decision into a shared one. Every coffee, every haircut, every I deserve this after a long week, even that random $50 that used to disappear without a trace, now it has context. Now it has visibility. Now it's everybody's business. And this is where things start compounding. Not financially yet, we'll get to that, but emotionally. Because having to ask your partner if you can spend money on something you want is awful. All of a sudden, you're like a 10-year-old asking for cookies before dinner. That's not just awkward, that's diminishing. That feeling, over time, builds into resentment on one side and guilt on the other. Then come the arguments. Hey, can you maybe check before buying new gear this week? What about your new shoes? How many shoes do you even need? Yeah, right? Those arguments aren't really about money. They're about feeling controlled, judged, or like you lost a bit of your independence somewhere along the way. And here's the part that should probably be on a warning label somewhere. A Kansas State study of over 4,500 couples found that money arguments are the single biggest predictor of divorce, and they last longer and get uglier than any other kind of fight.
every time. This is where most people get stuck because it feels like a relationship issue when it's actually a system issue. And the worst part, completely avoidable. Now, that's the emotional side, but what about the financial side? This part is quieter but way more expensive. Before combining finances, both of you were running your own systems. Payday stack, automatic contributions, emergency fund growing, Roth IRA compounding in the background. 2 people, 2 systems. Progress happening. Then everything merges into one joint account, and things get blurry. The emergency fund becomes our emergency fund, which sounds fine until you actually use it because now the emotional friction is gone. Before, spending your emergency fund felt personal, painful even. Like, do I really need this? That hesitation was useful. Now it feels like access. One big purchase, one rough month, one we'll top it up next month, and it's gone. And somehow it's always next month. Same thing with investing. The Roth IRA contribution starts slipping. Not dramatically, just inconsistently. Some months you do it, some months the joint account needs something else. And because it's shared money, no one feels fully responsible for keeping it on track. So let's say instead of investing $200 a month consistently from 25, you average closer to $100 between 25 and 35. Same intention, less structure. That 1 decade costs each of you about $80,000 in future value. Each. That's $160,000 combined, quietly gone. No bad decisions, no big mistake, just no system protecting what you were already building individually. Then there's the income gap problem, because not every couple earns the same. What if one of you earns $40K and the other makes $55K? A straight 50-50 split on shared expenses sounds fair, but is it? Because now one person is spending a much bigger percentage of their income just to keep the shared life running, potentially leaving them with almost nothing left for their own goals. By month 4, one person is constantly stressed about money and the other isn't. And somehow nobody can name why the tension keeps building. And here's the question nobody asks before merging finances, but everyone should. What happens to your individual financial goals? Because you both had them. You were building something. Progress was being made. And then everything went into one account, and those goals slowly got deprioritized. Not intentionally, just gradually. Because the joint account always seemed to have something more urgent. And that's the real trap. Not the you spent how much on tools arguments, not even the hidden purchases. The slow erosion of individual progress that was already working. So what does the trap look like in plain terms? Every personal purchase becomes a shared decision, and financial autonomy disappears. She stops buying what she loves without feeling guilty. He stops spending on what he enjoys without justification. The emergency fund gets raided because nobody personally owns it, and individual goals quietly get deprioritized. Income differences create resentment nobody planned for, and now you're arguing all the time and no one can really explain why. That's not a love problem. It's not a trust problem either. It's a system problem. And couples who argue about money weekly are 30% more likely to divorce. Weekly. That's just Tuesday. A shared pool of money with 0 rules attached, and no one ever sat you down and said, here's how to actually combine finances without losing your independence or your relationship. Imagine when you both show up at the bank with a newlywed look on your face. Would you like to open a joint account today? Right there at the counter. No context, no system, no, here's what you should probably think about first. Just a form and a smile. Thanks for that, truly. So how do we solve this? Here's the smarter play. Genuinely simple. Instead of 1 joint account, 3 accounts. Yours, mine, ours. The ours account exists for one thing only, shared expenses. Rent, utilities, groceries, subscriptions, anything your common living experience requires. Both of you contribute proportionally every month. Fixed contributions in, fixed expenses out. Not a backup account or a personal spending account. A shared utility. That's it. Your individual account is yours, fully. No explanation required. Now here's the part most couples miss. You don't split shared expenses equally, you split them proportionally based on income. Here's how. Person A takes home $2,600. Person B takes home $3,500. Combined, $6,100. Person A is 43% of combined income. Person B is 57%. Shared monthly expenses, rent, utilities, groceries, household stuff, let's say $2,000 a month. Person A contributes 43%. That's $860. Person B contributes 57%. That's $1,140. The score is already settled before anyone has to say a word. Shared life, fully covered. Nobody stretched, nobody keeping score. And on your individual accounts, you each run your own payday stack. Emergency fund, Roth IRA, personal spending, and yes, personal debt. I know, that one's going to get me roasted in the comments. But Jack, what about for better or for worse, in sickness and in health? Yeah, we should probably talk about that. Here's the thing. Whatever debt you bring into a relationship is yours. Student loans, credit card balances, a car you're still paying off, that's your financial history, not your partner's responsibility. And especially early on, when you're still figuring out this whole sharing a life thing, the last thing you want is to add someone else's financial stress to the equation. 86% of couples married 5 years or less started their relationship in debt. Most of them never had a system for it, and most of them felt every single dollar of it in their relationship. Because here's what happens. Even if nobody says it out loud, a quiet thought starts forming in the back of one person's mind. Why am I paying for this? That thought doesn't stay quiet for long. It turns into tension, then arguments. Then one of you just decides, you know what? I'm checking out. Separate accounts aren't about distrust. They're about protecting the relationship from a pressure it didn't need to carry in the first place. Your financial goals stay yours. The progress you were building before doesn't stop just because you're sharing a lease or a last name. Set it up once, automate the contributions, and run your individual systems exactly as before. As the relationship matures, engagement, marriage, saving for a house, you can add a fourth account, a future account. Both contribute proportionally towards shared goals. House deposit, joint emergency fund, shared investments. But that's a conversation for when you're genuinely building a shared future together, not month 2 of moving in. Start with 3. Get it running. The fourth comes when it makes sense. Here's what changes when you set this up properly. The money conversations almost disappear. Not because you have more money, your salary hasn't changed, but because every dollar already has a place. Nobody has to negotiate anything in real time. She spends on whatever she wants. The skincare haul, the new season wardrobe, the Sephora order that somehow arrives in 4 separate packages over 3 days. No explanation, no guilt attached. He drops money on car parts, tools, his gaming setup, the gym supplements, the fishing gear he will definitely never use. Doesn't matter. No asking, same deal. The joint account covers the shared life, and you both know where that money is going. The rest, it's nobody's business but your own. No, should I buy this without asking? No, you spent how much on what arguments? The arguments stop because there's nothing to argue about. And in the background, the individual accounts protect the individual freedom. You're both still running your own payday stack. Emergency fund growing, Roth IRA compounding, personal goals on track. You're taking care of your own future while building a life together at the same time. Those two things don't have to conflict. They never had to. If this was useful, subscribe. And if you haven't set up the payday stack yet, that's where this all starts. Click here. I'll walk you through the whole system in under 10 minutes.